Welcome to Teflon Combat Sports and Fitness. I'm Teflon Sean. UFC 317, Oliveira versus Topuria, coming up this Saturday, June 28th. These are going to be my official picks. Not exactly thrilled about most of this card. There's a lot of garbage fights on here, which leads me to the first one. Christopher Ewert steps in for Cedricus Dumas. He will be fighting Jackson McVeigh. I'm going to go with Christopher Ewert here. Not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I'm going with Ewert. Moving on to the second fight that I picked, it's going to be Janata Denise versus Alvin Hines. I'm going with Denise. Again, not going to spend a lot of time here. Not very excited about this one, but I'm going with Denise. The next fight is somewhat interesting. We have Nico Price. He's going to be fighting Jacoby Smith. I'm going to pick Jacoby Smith. I think he's a fairly interesting prospect, and I expect him to beat Nico Price pretty easily. Moving on to Terrence McKinney versus Vyacheslav Borshev. I know I fucked that up, but McKinney versus Borshev. So I'm going to go with Terrence McKinney here. He has experience versus much higher level opposition, and he's, won some, he's lost some. He's an explosive guy. I expect him to come out pretty quick, and I think he'll get the job done. All right, let's move to the next fight. It's going to be Haider Emil versus Jose Miguel Delgado. I'm going to go with Emil on this fight, and I think that he'll probably dominate Delgado and get the W. The next fight is pretty interesting. We got Jack Hermanson versus Gregory Rodriguez. This one went back and forth a little bit, but I'm going with Jack Hermanson. Rodriguez is very tough in the first couple rounds, but I just feel like if he doesn't get Hermanson out of there within the first round and a half or so, he's done. Hermanson is pretty good at not taking a lot of damage, so I think he'll survive the early onslaught by Rodriguez, and I think he probably wins a close decision or maybe stops Rodriguez late in the third round. Here's another interesting fight. Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima. I'm pretty confident in picking Felipe Lima. I do believe that Peyton Talbot's ceiling is pretty high. However, in his last fight against Barcelos, which he lost, I didn't see what I would have wanted to see if I was in his corner. There was no sense of urgency. It was almost as though he kind of just accepted the defeat, and that's not something that you like to see, especially in a fighter that young. If I saw that, I'm sure Felipe Lima saw that. If he can get Peyton Talbot into the same situation Barcelos had him in, I think that he'll pull it off. So I do look for Felipe Lima to beat Peyton Talbot. All right, moving on to Brandon Royval versus Joshua Van. This is a banger. This might end up being fight of the night. So I really want to pick Joshua Van here. I do. I really, really want to. I love his attitude. I love the way he fights. But if I'm being completely honest, I do see some glaring deficits in his game that I think Brandon Royval will take advantage of. So I think it's going to be a good fight. I do expect Brandon Royval to win the fight, but I'm not counting Van out. He can definitely win, but I think that Brandon Royval will take advantage of some of the deficits that are in Joshua Van's game, and I think that he will pull out the win in a pretty good fight. I think it might be fight of the night. The next fight that I picked was Beneil Dariush and Renato Moicano. This is another one that's a little hard to pick, but I'm going to go with Beneil Dariush. Where does the winner or loser go from here? I'm not really sure. Those top 5 guys or so in the lightweight division are pretty tough. I don't see either of these guys beating any of them. So I don't know how important this fight is in the long run, but I do think Dariush wins. Co-main event, Alexandre Pantoja versus Kai Kara France. I'm going to pick Alexandre Pantoja to win. He did beat Kara France already, and I think he's only gotten better since then, so I expect him to win again. Definitely underrated. He's tough. He's lapping the division again. They're importing guys to try to beat him. I don't know when he's going to get the respect he deserves, but I definitely expect him to win on the 28th. So I'm going with Pantoja. All right, here we go. The main event. I got to tell you guys, this was not a hard choice for me. So a lot of people are going with Oliveira. I know that. I got to be honest with you. I'm the type of guy that always roots for the bad guy. I'm rolling with Ilia Topuria here all the way. I think it's an easy win, no matter where the fight goes. I think he can knock Charles out. I think he can submit Charles. I think every option goes in his favor. I think he's faster. He definitely hits harder. He has momentum on his side. I actually don't even know why Charles Oliveira is in this fight. I think there were better options for the lightweight title fight. But here we are, and he got the shot. So I'm picking Ilia Topuria, and I think he stops Oliveira before the third round. So those are my picks. Love them or hate them, let me know what you think. Also, please do me a favor and like and subscribe. I'll see you guys soon.